Okay, so I don't think this is going to be very useful to compositing at large, but I think it's very interesting and I think it's something worth sharing because it's a little, little project. So I was watching a video on YouTube recently and the topic came up of John Conway's Game of Life. For those of you that don't know, John Conway is a British mathematician who came up with this thing called Game of Life. He died last year, unfortunately. And yeah, I was interested by the idea of trying to replicate it in Nuke, and I was sure there was a way, and yeah, there is. So for those of you uninitiated, Conway's Game of Life is officially written here as a cellular automaton. Um, Basically, the way it works is you've got these cells, or we're more used to thinking of them as pixels, and you give it a start state by just turning a bunch of cells on and off. And then based on the surroundings, these cells decide to live or die. I think officially it's called a zero player game, which is quite fun. And the rules are pretty simple. If a cell is alive and has fewer than two neighbors, it dies due to underpopulation. If a cell is alive and it's got two or three neighbors, they huddle up for warmth and all survive. If a cell is alive and has more than three neighbors, the they kill each other, which is just horrid. And if one of them is dead and it has exactly three neighbors, the ritual is complete, and they are able to do their necromantic spells and summon one of the dead cells back to life. The philosophical thought about whether the whole ground is like dead cells or something is something I don't want to think about. So instead, we'll think about Blinkscript and nodes. And I thought I'd crash two spaceships to celebrate. It works, Eureka! Um, yeah. So the way it works is pretty simple. Um, Basically, you can, with a RotoPaint node, if you want to play along, and I'll make this available for download. I think it only works on GPU, and it only works on Nuke 12 and above, but it was just a fun little project. Yeah, so you can, with your RotoPaint, set the cycles to zero. Basically, you can draw a bunch of cells, and then you've got a cycles control, and it will start to count up. And you've got some flippers and stuff. It's all very fun. Then these two guys, they crash in the middle. And so the way this is working is it is taking a look at the state of the screen. And then what it does is it counts the neighbors for every single pixel. So this pixel, for example, has got two neighbors. So this would have a surrounding value of 2. And then because it's got only 2 neighbors and it's alive, it gets to live. So on the next cycle, it will still be there. Yeah. And so it does that logic for every single time you cycle up. And if you just type in frame here, it will just count up on over time. And yeah, I mean that's about it really. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's something kind of cool where I've kind of I've left the previous and next state on when you actually view the Blinkscript. So if I were to look like this, you can see which survive both this generation and the next generation, which ones die, which ones come to life, and stuff like that, which I think is pretty fun. That's errored out, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, oh well. And and we're back. There we go. Yes, so you've got this kind of readout as to whether or not the pixels are dying or not. And yeah, and like I said, all the code is commented for people who are thinking about learning about Blinkscript. And if you are thinking about learning about Blinkscript, you can go and look at An Artist's Guide to Blinkscript on my website, chrisfryer.co.uk. Now that shameless plug is out of the way, let's get back to this. So yeah, this is all commented. I've kind of explained the logic on this. Some of it's a little bit contrived due to some quirks to how sort of Blinkscript works. Some of it's a little bit contrived because this was just a fun little project, and the minute a prototype worked, it was final. So it's fine because when you are your own client, you can approve everything. But yeah, I specifically kind of wanted to share this because I think Game of Life kind of takes something that could be considered quite boring, maths and things like that, and presents it in an interesting way, and has loads of little fun perhaps unintended things, like you can make little spaceships that end in an explosion and stuff like that. So yeah, have a look around. I hope you really enjoy it. Any questions, drop me a message. I'm always keen to pass on any Blinkscripting knowledge because I think it's really cool and everyone should have a look at it. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, happy comping.